patrons, hello patrons, hello patrons, hello patrons! Anthony Fantano here, the best teeth in the game, you know who it is, and it's time for another edition, a patron-only edition of Let's Argue, where I take your hot takes, your unpopular opinions, your tough questions, I respond to the best and most interesting ones, literally in this video. Let's go! Baby Yoda is meme of the year. No, it's not. Baby Yoda is a fucking marketing ploy by Disney to sell fucking Yoda dolls. That's what Baby Yoda is. It's cute. I'm not going to deny it's cute. Obviously, a lot of time and art direction went into the look and the cutesy appeal of Baby Yoda, but it's not a meme. It's not a fucking meme. There are memes that people have made of Baby Yoda and using Baby Yoda, okay? But Baby Yoda is not a meme. It is a Disney property. Okay, it's a Disney property, and fuck Disney. Fuck them for owning everything. Do you think Poppy's music might be better or worse now that she doesn't work with Titanic anymore? I don't know what exactly the creative process musically was between her and Titanic. I know certainly that they were deep together creatively when it came to the visual side of things, the image side of things, the YouTube side of things. I don't know exactly what, the crossover was as far as their music and writing that, producing that was. I'm sure that was also the case in regards to that, but it seems like musically and stylistically, she's moved on to different things with the whole metal thing. Don't know if she's going to be doing that forever, most likely not, but this seems to kind of be a new page, a new era, a new time, a new something for Poppy. I know Poppy is working with different musicians and a different producer for this sort of heavy, I suspect, metal-centric record, and I don't know if that's exactly Titanic's forte anyway, so I don't know. I think as long as Poppy continues to stay true to her art, her image, and continues to explore, experiment, try to break new ground, find new sounds. Her music's going to be and stay interesting regardless of who she's working with, so I'm still looking forward to the record. Beach House is pretty overrated. All they do is make sleepy dream pop music. Well, look, you guys know that I'm not the biggest champion of sleepy music to begin with, but while they do just make sleepy dream pop music, they are incredibly good at making sleepy dream pop music. I mean, I would say Beach House is maybe in the top 10 or top 5 of groups out there that make sleepy music that is also incredibly catchy, soulful, passionate, compelling, and pretty to the ears. There's a lot of sleepy music out there that's quite bland, soulless, boring, and I don't know, I guess crap. Beach House, while not every Beach House album, in my opinion, is quality, is not one of those groups. Teen Dream is great. Devotion is great. Bloom is beautiful as well. Beach House in the past has made legitimately good dream pop. Don't write it off. Don't write it off. The Drones' Icy Seaweed is the album of the decade. It goes over themes of environmentalism, religion, and the abolition of the past. Not to mention, it's also musically orgasmic and emotionally terrorizing. I do like Icy Seaweed, but I feel like the follow-up was better. I liked the beats on that one. I liked the weird, groovy instrumentals. I liked some of the angular bits of instrumentation. I thought some of the topical tracks were pretty interesting on that record, too. Even though I feel like that record was very much predicting a lot of what would happen in Tropical Fuckstorm, I still like that record quite a bit. Not to say I dislike Icy Seaweed. Obviously, I gave it a very positive review. However, I feel like the style and the instrumentation aren't quite novel or grand enough to really kind of stick with me as album of the decade, truly and honestly. I think there are much bolder records that dropped this decade. Hello Nasty is the best Beastie Boys album. It might not be as groundbreaking as Paul's Boutique, but it has a lot more variety, and I find myself coming back to it more. You know, I do have a soft spot in my heart for Hello Nasty, because that is the first Beastie Boys record that I owned, and I think it's a great tape. I think it's a great album. A lot of great songs on there, a lot of funky jams. That Mix Master Mike song is fantastic. And you're right, it is a pretty versatile record as well. So is Check Your Head. Ill Communication is pretty versatile too, and all you're really doing here is kind of making me want to do a Beastie Boys fucking tier list. Oh my god, I have to do that. I have to do a Beastie Boys tier list. Lisa Simpson is the perfect example of a straight edge vegan. For one, Lisa Simpson is vegetarian, not vegan, okay? She's vegetarian. And Lisa Simpson's got a stick up her ass half the time, which is fine. You know, I'm fine with that. If it's for a good cause and you've got a good heart and you're a good person, somebody who's a little preachy, fights for what they believe in, is principled, not the worst thing in the world. Not the worst thing in the world. You know, it's a lot worse sometimes to be paired with or be around someone who's just completely amoral garbage. King of Limbs by Radiohead gets bashed far too much. It gave us some awesome experimental songs. Look, I think there's some good tracks on King of Limbs. I think that the Basement Sessions version of the record is far more enjoyable than the album itself. I think the production on the record is way too rigid. But I will say, if King of Limbs is Radiohead's worst record, I think that just speaks to the talent of Radiohead. I was one of the people angry at your damn review, but after coming back to it 2 years later, you were right. In fact, I think it is a 6 now. Yeah, I mean, even though I gave it a 7 originally, it now feels like more of a 6 for me. It's just such a thankless record. It really truly is. I mean, look, there are some slow burners and some emotional moments that I think resonate pretty hard for me still, but the bombastic, kind of one-dimensional production, the songs and ideas and themes and concepts that never really truly feel as fleshed out as they typically were on previous Kendrick Lamar albums, even Section 80. Damn is really not the record that I think fans deserved. And I think it was a tad bit overhyped upon release, and I hope his next record is better. The moment an artist boasts their wealth in their music is the moment I stop listening. I cannot understand how this became a staple of several genres. I guess this is what caused the Ace family. I don't know if you've noticed, but we live in a very greedy, money-centric, capitalist-type society where millionaires and billionaires literally get away with human trafficking for years and years and years just because they have the money to be able to just circumvent the law, circumvent the system. And then we have people who can't afford a $400 emergency, at least not without being able to put it on a credit card or something like that. And you have such a large section of the populace who does nothing but worry about money, who does nothing but worry about whether or not they can afford something or live a decent life, live a stable life. And as a result of that, the music becomes a form of escapism and messaging that allows people to think of, oh, you know, wouldn't it be nice if I had this, I had that, I could flex on this, I could show off that, I could feel good that I own something or have something of value. People use the music to look to messaging like that because it makes them feel good, because it gives them, I guess, a bit of a peace of mind, or it allows them to live vicariously through this artist, through their image, through their lyrics, through their social media. They're at least able to give you the facade, the image of having. And people are attracted to that. People find that sexy. People find that appealing because, again, they want to live in a fantasy world where they don't have to worry about stability. They don't have to worry about money. And this, to many, feels like a window into that. Beck announcing that he isn't a Scientologist was honestly a relief. Not that it kept me from enjoying his art before, and maybe it doesn't really matter at all that much, but it was still disappointing to think he was part of an abusive and destructive religion, and it definitely makes me respect him more outside of his art to know that he isn't involved in it. Yeah, I mean, Scientology is a weird fucking thing. It is abusive, it is destructive, it does kind of take over your life. There are some people, especially celebrities, though, who I wonder if they really understand how destructive it is because they're being kind of used by the religion and shielded from the more negative aspects of the religion so that person can continue to be used as like a homing beacon or like a pillar, like, oh, this person's a Scientologist. That's amazing. It's great that Beck isn't a part of it anymore. I hope he stays out of it. I don't know, how much I could really ascribe to his person or personality or morality as far as like being a part of the religion or anything like that. I don't genuinely think Beck was trying to do any wrong by anyone by being a part of Scientology. He most likely genuinely thought it was like a good idea and it was compelling and it was interesting. But either way, I hope Beck has left the religion for reasons other than maybe it being a bad look. I hope he came to realize that it's not that great of a thing and has moved on to maybe more secular pastures. I don't know. The happy birthday song, fuck that shit. Chances are that if you're singing it, it's because you have to, not because you want to. And when you're on the receiving end of the song, there's nothing better than having to awkwardly stand there while people sing a song at you, not to you or for you, at you. I don't mind the happy birthday song. I don't personally mind the ritual of the happy birthday song. I'm just pissed it's copyrighted. Like, what the fuck? It's like one of the most popular folksy, everybody fucking knows it in the world. It's so universally used type of songs. And while I'm happy that nobody's like being robbed of some kind of royalty payment whenever somebody sings the happy birthday song at a party or whatever for your kid, I don't know. It just pisses me off that that song is fucking copyrighted. It's so stupid that song is not in the public domain at this point. We really need to like start forcing shit into the public domain. Jesus Christ. Raekwon's verse on Gorgeous sounds like an MF Doom ripoff. Doom would have sounded way better on the track than he did. Granted, it's still one of the better verses on My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. It never struck me like that. I never thought Raekwon's verse on Gorgeous sounded just like MF Doom. I mean, I guess there's some crossover, but I don't know. Maybe it's because I've been listening to both artists for so long, and I've been a Wu-Tang fan for so long. I just kind of see them as very separate, and I don't really think Raekwon would intentionally try to like pull off of Doom all that hard. Plus, I think one thing about Doom typically is the third-person stuff, the narratives he typically spins, so I don't know. I don't fully agree. If anything, Doom is pulling more from Raekwon, or at least is more aware of Raekwon than the other way around. Rearranging tracks so they fit better on each side of a vinyl record can ruin the flow and experience of an album, yes. Especially if you have to change the closing track arrangement. Ugh, bullshit. And I don't know. Nobody will say it, but it's just one of the many benefits of listening to music digitally, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Vinyl is great, analog is cool, but it's not the best in all situations. This Is Happening is the real album of the decade. Dance punk has never sounded this perfect before, and it's amazing to think that this was the note that James Murphy originally wanted to end on. Ingenious grooves, brilliant production, lovely showcases, displaying clearly who his influences are, and above all else, fun as hell. I agree. I cannot have put it better myself. I don't know if I agree with this being the album of the decade, but I mean, those are all certainly compliments and bits of praise that I feel like I wasn't even capable of maybe laying on to the record at the time when I reviewed it, because I was so green behind the ears as a reviewer in 2010, but I still had the good sense to name that fucking album my album of the year, because it is truly a great album, and I look forward to seeing where it lands in my decade list. It's certainly going to be high. It's going to be up there because it's an amazing LP. A list no one is talking about. What are some of the best TV performances of the decade? My mind goes to Kendrick's 2016 Grammys performance as a frontrunner. Yeah, that and that one Future Islands performance that literally put the band on the fucking map for a minute was incredible. Genuinely, in my opinion, one of the best TV performances ever. On screen, they looked amazing. The sound was good, whereas like most late night show performances sound like shit. That one sounded real good. I think I'm going to leave it at that, everyone. Thank you very much for stopping on by to this patron-only Let's Argue episode. You're the best, you're the best, you're the best, you're the best. I will see you guys in the next one a month from now. And thank you very much for taking part in our little Patreon community over here. I love it. I'm happy. I'm flattered. I'm smiling about the whole thing. Anthony Fantano, Let's Argue forever?